Right. Look, if you're new here, I do read and watch romance that involves the heterosexuals. And I do enjoy it, okay? Like, just because I'm queer, I am also bisexual. So, before you try to fight me, I have nothing against a little bit of a straight romance. However, there were some things in off campus I'm not really sure I can get on board with. Hockey boyfriend beating up her rapist, though. Absolutely, yes. What is his name? I don't know anyone's fucking names in this. Jesus Christ. Anyway, hello. It is me. I've come back from fucking Scotland in the middle of a Jesus Christ fuck off heat wave in Sussex. Hopefully you can't hear the 47 fans I have going right now. Thank God for teeny tiny microphones. Right, what is everybody's names? Where's my cheat sheet? Garrett. That's what his fucking name is. Right, there was this show I watched called, I think it was called Manifest, with a character called Garrett. But the way the characters said it, or the actors said his name, they said it so fast that his name was almost basically pronounced good. So I might just call him Good. But for the most part, I just referred to him as Hockey Boyfriend because I couldn't remember what the fuck his name was. I could remember Hannah's name because she kind of just reminds me of 13 Reasons Why. Hannah, do you kind of see that? This queer decided to watch the straight hockey romance just out of curiosity. It wasn't very long. It took me like what, a day. Also, mainly once again, mainly the reason I came to watch this one was because people were really mad about the non-binary sibling that was added. Oh shit! Sorry, I'm trying out a new thing because I have all these really nice bookmarks. However, it does feel a little bit risky. So yeah, everyone's mad about the non-binary sibling that replaced Logan's brother, John Logan's brother. There's 47 Johns in this show. John, and John. Also, I renamed a few of them myself because they were just like actors from other shows that I've seen them in. So, like John Tucker, I called Mateo because it's Mateo from The Pit. Because the UK finally got The Pit, and I love Mateo, but he's only in the first season. Now I know why. Now I know why he's not in season 2. He's too busy being John Tucker in Off Campus. He's too busy being sexy and ice skating, and cooking meals. That's what he's doing now instead of being a nurse. Hello, Layla. My dog is suffering more than I am. So yeah, everyone's mad about this non-binary sibling. I haven't read the books. I probably won't. I probably won't read the books. And honestly, after watching the show, it feels very minor for a start. The sibling, who is it? For one, they keep everyone's super mad about this non-binary character, just keeps misgendering them. Even the ones who aren't mad about this character keep misgendering them. Try a bit harder, guys. I'm begging. Begging you. Which one is it? Oh, Jules Logan. Generally, their role is, yeah, like, fine. There are definitely some elements to it that feel very queered, and I found them funny. I felt seen. There were some elements to that role that felt like, yeah, a non-binary person looked at the script and were like, yeah, add this. So I appreciated that. That was funny. The straights will not get that because if the straights couldn't even tell that Franchella was coming, they're not going to understand the nuances of the funny moments of Jules Logan. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry, guys. There's just some fucking in jokes about the queer culture that you're just not gonna fucking get. We're not even trying to hide it from you. You guys are just like not very good at getting it or seeing it. Like genuinely, we're not even trying to hide it. You're not looking. You're not looking. That's kind of the bit that gave me the push. I was just like, okay, let's just see how scandalous it is. It's really not. It's like super tame. They are barely in it, really. They are basically just the gossip blogger for their brother's hockey team, which I found weird. Is that also the case in the book for the brother? Because if that's true, that's even weirder. I can kind of stretch my imagination to believe that a non binary person would do that for their brother's team. Mood slay, I like, sure, I could possibly perceive myself to do that, except I'm an only child, so I have no concept of like maybe what a sibling relationship is like, honestly. So I'm having a hard time generally perceiving that actually being a thing. But then also, if is that a thing in the books? Because if it is in the books, it's a brother. Does the brother do? That's one thing I would like some of the book readers to tell me. Please fill me in on that. I would love some more context there. But yeah, so Jules is the like gossip blogger slash social media like running person. And like in some ways I get it because I feel like they are their brother's like biggest cheerleader because they are poor. They're poor. They are the poors, or at least some of the poors. I don't know how many of them are poor. We definitely know some of them are rich, and it seems like it's helpful. I mean, we know in real life it's helpful to have good social media presence in certain industries or leading up to getting into those industries. I think that's like what the sibling is doing, is like trying to kind of like do that, have like a good hype for their brother and their brother's team on socials. But also, yeah, actually, real quick, I guess I was right about the rising trend of college being used again as like a backdrop in like American media, like I mentioned at the end of my Spider-Man video, because obviously this is based in college. One of the shows I mentioned in that as well, Overcompensating, did get renewed for a season 2. Very exciting. Yay. Initial thought was just really hated the start. Really hated the start. Hated that she just like stared at this guy whilst he was just fucking naked in the shower. Like, why are you just staring at this guy that you don't even know in a public locker room whilst you're supposed to be working? Did not like that. Could you at least have tried to hide that a little bit more? And then, like, he throws that in her face later because he's like, so only you're allowed to look at things that you're not supposed to? She pretends to be stupid to be cool. And I really hate that. I'm not gonna lie. I hate a girl, I hate a character who pretends to be stupid to be cool, hiding the fact that she got like an A or an A plus or whatever it was on the philosophy exam or whatever. I don't know philosophy. But I hate people who pretend to be stupid. Bye. I made a note here to myself. Did I just see Dusty from Heartbreak High? Yes, you did, bitch. I hate this man. I knew right away that we were about to have the worst douchebag in the world. The biggest douchebag. I knew it. I knew it. When good Garrett was like trying to like cut a deal with Hannah, he should have been like, I don't know, he should have come prepared. Like, what was he offering? He was offering nothing. He was offering nothing that first time round. Eventually, he comes back with a better offer because he realizes she likes Dusty Dinkelman. Who is Dusty Dinkelman? Where does that come from? What reference was that? Dusty Dinkelman. That's from Just Friends from from a from a Ryan Reynolds film. What the fuck? But yeah, he was just like tutor me or else. um, how about no? Eventually, she loses her scholarship, and it's like, okay, money. He has a lot of money, which you need. Also, I don't know why she carries on working at all these other jobs when she could just charge him fucking extortionate amounts of money. He has so much money. Just charge him crazy money to do nothing. Also, did they ever study? This whole show, how often did you actually see them working? They would show up together. How often did they actually do any of that work? Like, I know we don't actually want to see them studying. Boring, boo. But like, show us a montage, you know? Show us a quick little montage to like give us the gist that they're actually studying. Because what actually happens is that they just keep showing up and doing something else, or they show up and she keeps ditching him for Dusty Dinkelman. For Dusty of Heartbreak High. Although I do have to give the show props that she does wear a helmet when she rides her bicycle. Safety first. Safety first. I never looked this up. Who was her composer teacher? I made a note being like, oh my god, who's her composer teacher? And then I never looked. But now I've got IMDb open. Who is this bitch? You know, I made that 13 Reasons Why reference. He was in 13 Reasons Why. Anyway. Oh, maybe I recognize him from Grey's Anatomy. They absolutely definitely found an actress who like physically encompasses the like really typical men's writing of like she breasted boobily. You know what I mean? She's just like so much boob, absolutely neutral. I'm not trying to judge her body in any way. It's just something I noticed, but I just feel like she is the physical embodiment of she breasted boobily. You know? I also feel like this house of like the frat. Are they a frat? This is the thing. I was a bit lost. Are they a frat house? I was not entirely sure what was going on here. Is Mateo, i.e., John Tucker, also John Tucker must die? Question mark. Is this house not? Are they a frat? That was unclear to me. Do you have to be in a frat if you are a sports team? And do you have to live together if you're a sports team? It does. I thought no, but also it reminds me of the book Icebreaker, which was again a college romance, but the love interest girl is a figure skater, and the guys are again a hockey team, ice hockey team. And I can't remember if they were a frat, but they all lived together as well. But I think John Tucker decides to pledge the frat, but also he wasn't pledging the frat initially, but also he's not a freshman. But I know you can technically pledge a frat after freshman year. I don't know. There were a lot of things that were a bit confusing about that setup that I think maybe they should have just cut. I think they should have just cut a lot of that out. Unnecessary. Uh, unnecessary. Just they should have. They're just boys living together on the same team. You know, just fuck the frat stuff. Is it necessary? Not really. So a lot of that was getting a bit confusing. Dusty Dinkelman from Heartbreak High is in a moody band. Unsurprising. Again, slamming music in some places. Nadia, there's a few songs of theirs in the show. I was pleased about that because I do really like Nadia's music. I can't even remember that first sex scene now, actually. Whose scene was that? Well, that says it all, really. I don't even remember whose scene that was. I think it must have been Gerd and his bit on the side, I guess. I don't know. Was it Kendall? I don't know. It must be. Yeah, I've written the post scene chat that I thought was funny and relatively fair, even if he was a little bit harsh. I think he has a point. Like, because she was like, "Oh, but like, I think we should be together," and he's like, "But You don't know me. I don't know these things about you. Do you know these things about me? And she was just like, fuck you, and left. It was like, well, I mean, he has a point. Do you know those things about him? He doesn't know those things about you, and at least he was honest about it, I guess. At least he's pointing out facts. I don't know, man. All the guys afterwards was saying like, "Oh, you've been hooking up with her for months, so you guys were dating." And like, I don't agree. I don't agree with that. Just because you've been hooking up with somebody does not mean that you are dating. You need to have a conversation about that. This is coming from the asexual person. Hello? You don't just fucking assume just because you're the only two people fucking. Sometimes it's just a convenience thing, okay? Just fucking the same person. And also, the other thing that was really fucking me off the whole season was really fucking me off. Everybody just kept saying, "Oh, well, he's your dad. He's your dad. Oh, yeah, well, he's your dad." Doesn't mean shit, bro. Doesn't mean shit. I don't give a fuck. You don't know anything about somebody's family situation, man. And he's sitting right there saying things like, "Oh, well, you know him. He's an asshole." And just because he's brushing it off as he's an asshole doesn't mean it's not worse than that. And I was correct. I was correct. It was worse. Another thing that I could not get on board with. They would not shut the fuck up about wanting to be just like Taylor Swift. Ugh. I want to write a banger like Taylor Swift. Pick another dream. Someone who actually writes bangers. Someone who actually writes bangers. Even though throughout this show, the lead who plays Gerd, what? Hold on a second. What do you mean his name is Belmont? Gerd, his character reminds me a lot of somebody I had like a Delulu crush on a few years ago. So like I have a little soft spot for Gerd in this show and the way he is acted. So I totally understand why people don't like his character. He's definitely like a very very particular taste. Like I can't lie. He is not a particularly likable character, but that's why I like him. And because I had a Dululu crush on somebody just like that. Like a few years ago. I love this character so I love him. However, there were a few awkward acting moments between, like, both just him in general, but also between him and Hannah Wells slash Ella Bright. There were some weird moments where they just like, they just they looked a bit weird. There was just something that just really took you out of it. But like in general, I loved his characterization of Gerd. But this is why I just kept calling him hockey boyfriend, because I can't get on board with how a lot of Americans pronounce Garrett. Good. But also so many of the other hockey boys, I love them too. I love them too. Like I loved John Logan. I loved him too. And like I could see a little something with Dean De Laurentiis. I could see it. And like, I don't know. Dean De Laurentiis was very golden retriever, you know? And I feel like he was very him and Ali, they were the right match, you know? They were right. So this is the other thing I loved as well about Good as well, is that he was like pretty straightforward with his communication with Hannah, with people in general, actually, a lot of the time, until it was anything to do with his family. He was super avoidant about ever talking about his family or like even really himself a lot of the time. Mood, he doesn't really like handle with care in like a, someone's too fragile to cut, like to deal with kind of way. I think people who have been through a lot of shit need that as well. So obviously, because Hannah has been, it's quite refreshing as well to know that he's just like that anyway, and she doesn't want him to treat her differently after she tells him anything more serious about herself. He kind of always just kind of cuts to the chase, cuts the bullshit. He's like, you're fawning over a guy who literally doesn't know you, doesn't give a shit about you. Like, just be normal. Be a normal person. Stop being weird. Act like you don't give a shit about this guy because he doesn't give a shit about you. Also, his dad is played by I can't remember what his name was in Shameless, but it was the guy at the bar in Shameless, which is so funny because he was like, I loved him, but he was so unattractive in Shameless for so much of it. Like, he's low key a hottie until you find out he's a terrible person. So, I mean, great for exactly what this character is and what he does, because he's a terrible person, and terrible people can often be very attractive people. There are a lot of really like nice moments I really enjoyed about this show, including he has a lot of moments because he struggles with anger issues. Same bitch. So like he is having a really shitty game or something. I've already forgotten. I don't know. He's having a really shitty game and he's left the ice or the changing or something. And he's seeing Hannah singing in some green room, back room somewhere to make herself feel better, and seeing her just like enjoying herself singing along made him feel better. And they both have like the same crappy taste in like music and films, like old dated 80s stuff. We find out later that it's stuff that his mum used to like watching and listening to, so it's stuff that reminds him of his mum, that he likes to put on. It's all very sweet. Honestly, this is a plot hole, I fear. Hannah tells Garrett that she makes a playlist of Dusty Dinkelman's current and old music on Spotify. So it's all of his like current band's music and all of like his old solo shit. And she puts his face on it and she calls it crushing. And I know that bands can see your playlists
when you add their music to them.
he would have seen that already. So that would have already been like something he would have seen before the whole like thing of when he went over to hers and like seen it on her laptop. So plot hole. Like I feel like he is such a self-obsessed dork. He is somebody who I think would regularly check that sort of thing to see if people have made a new playlist that they've added like his songs to. I also just don't like her hair in most of this show. Is that bad length to me? Is that bad length where it's like a little bit too long to be a bob, but not long enough to stop doing that annoying thing? And because it's like straight, it does that annoying sort of half flicky thing. I just wish someone had done something nice to her hair when they did something. Like, I don't know, I think they went out somewhere and I just wish they had done something a little bit nicer to her hair as well when they were like trying to glam her up or something like that. I think her friend Ali has such like cute and very like now hair. But also, this episode has such like fucked timing because she says like, "Oh, I talked to him earlier," and it's like, was that not like yesterday? Was that not like 3 days ago? That like the pacing is very off in episode one. It feels like several days have happened, and I think it's supposed to have all been maybe one day. This is it. Like she's tarted up to go and like talk to Dusty. What's his name? Justin. Oh, of course, it's a J name. J names for the douchebags. And immediately someone spills their drink over her tits. And she's wearing a white top over a black bra. And like I said earlier, she has the biggest nunga nungas. Sorry, I'm getting secondhand embarrassment just remembering this whole scene. This is like, oh, ah! If there's anybody if there's anybody out there, is there anybody out there watching this and Hannah Wells is relatable to you? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Don't get me wrong, especially this year, I've gone back out into the real world of dating and I've said some like weird things that I did not intend to come out of my mouth in some of these dating events. And I've been like, wow, that will stay with me forever. But I think if this happened to me, I might have just gone, you know what, Justin, I've got to go and change my top. Someone's just spilled an entire drink down my shirt, and now you can see all of my tits. All two of my tits. You're welcome. But like, I think I'm gonna go and change my shirt, but like, I'll catch up with you later. Nice to see you. And leave. She doesn't even acknowledge that happened. He just has polite conversation with her the whole time. And then grumpy hockey boyfriend turns up after internet stalking her, after his bestie John Logan, who also has a crush on her. Yeah, we're in one of those like fucking shows where everybody has a crush on Hannah Wells. Everybody has a crush on the main character. Why? I don't know. Because she breasted boobily. They're all such different men as well. Grumpy Boy turns up after stalking her online and he pretends to be her boyfriend. And he's like, don't worry about it. Dusty now thinks we're together and he's totally into girls who are unavailable. Check it out. And there's just Dusty over in the corner being like, then they talk about this plan and he wants the tutoring. Also, which I still don't understand. Why you need tutoring when you absolutely understand everything about philosophy? I don't understand why you needed the tutoring. That had me lost as well. He would just like regurgitate the philosophy. He's like, I will pay you as much money as you want still. Don't worry about it. This is a line I did really like. Okay. He was like, you're not interested in me. I'm not interested in having a girlfriend. I see what you did there, you sly dog. I see what you did there. Because you've got a little coy girly crush. I see you. I see you, you little bitch. I love that. The gist is, Justin's a bitch. I fucking hate him. He is somebody that you should only have a crush on in concepts. He has no personality, has also got no talent, turns her song into something basically that's just, I mean, Ali had it right. She was like, yellow haze, like pee. He literally took her song and changed everything about it. As soon as he was like, can I take this stuff and like go play with it? I was like, no, don't let him take your shit. Don't let him take your shit. Copyright what you've done. No, don't let a man take your stuff. Don't do it. No, never. And I was correct. Literally the worst man. I kept recognizing loads of actors in this. I was like, oh, nice to know that you're getting paid. I'm glad there's a paycheck from somewhere other than the one show I've seen you in, you know? I was like, good for you. There's also so many actually kind of funny, cringy moments that I actually could get on board with for like rom-com humor. One of the moments quite early on is when Gerd gets her an iced coffee and she's like, oh, what milk is in this? And he's like, shut the fuck up. And she's like, I am lactose intolerant. Same, bitch. So she's like, I can't fucking drink this. But then they're like snuggling up together in class. Is Justin looking? And it's like, no. And so they were trying to make some noise to get him to kind of pay attention. And they knock his fuck off humongous metal water bottle over. And it goes down the huge, like, because it's a huge lecture hall. They're near the front too. But like it goes down this lecture hall stairs and makes so much noise. And everyone's looking now. It's so funny. That was good. That That was well done humor. The first kiss scene was weird, though. That was one of the moments where I was like, the chemistry is a bit off here. Started okay, but then I feel like the scene got a bit clunky and weird looking. I think the writing and the physical comedy was funny, with like the doubling down of kissing the other guy, so John Logan, before leaving the room. I mean, like, I think anybody would kind of like jump and freak out a bit when somebody walks in the fucking room that you weren't expecting, especially if somebody goes, so this is tutoring, and especially when she was just talking to like the coach. Again, this is what I mean. They were supposed to be tutoring. No tutoring happened. And then she left. And like to prove the point, she then went and snogged Logan. And poor Logan has this crush on her. And in hindsight, oh no. Oh no. I'm also just really enjoying that shows are casting more people with stage experience again, because this is something that I didn't really fully appreciate when I first watched the show. I haven't rewatched the show, but I keep being delivered loads of clips, and I'm really seeing a lot of these finer details of John Logan's actor, and I keep being delivered loads of John Logan performing on stage, a bit like some of the pit actors. I'm being delivered loads of their like stage performances as well after like starting to watch The Pit. And I'm seeing a lot of these really small, intricate moments of John Logan's actor's performance in off campus that are just so, I don't know, so animated. So I saw somebody say that he is so Flynn Rider, and I just have to agree. I feel like he looks very Flynn Rider, but also his movements are so Disney Prince animation. And I think that's just very like stage actor. I think maybe musical theatre actor as well, specifically. And I think he's just so sweet romance actory coded. And I think he just went very unappreciated by me, honestly, in my first watch of the show. Even though I did really enjoy his acting and I really enjoyed him in general. And I think he's very beautiful. And I love him very much. And also everyone's comparing him to Jess from Gilmore Girls, who I also love very much. Hello. And there's just so many wonderful moments. And one of them was this scene in particular. There's just so many of the moments that show his crush on Hannah, that after she kisses him, his little like gobsmacked, like holy fuck, after she kisses him. Apparently in the book she kisses Dean, but they changed it to kind of add to the like high stakesness of John Logan's little crush storyline. And I love that, but also there's just so many beautiful moments I've seen in these clips that are so small but like so good. There's this wonderful moment of him, I think, in the house when he's talking to, I think it's just talking to Garrett, but also with some of the other guys, where I think it was one of the parts where he's being compared to Flynn Rider, and it's very Flynn Rider coded, where he's talking to them and he's looking at, I think, maybe a message or something. He's looking at the phone and then he looks at the others like, and just that moment is just so animated, is all I can describe it. He just feels very unreal in his movements. He's so, that this is why I think it's really nice sometimes to see stage actors in TV occasionally, because their movements are a little bit more heightened in a way that's a little bit like more fun and camp and, like I keep saying, animated. And especially when it comes to a romance show that is a little bit more fun and camp and animated and silly, you don't always need it to be hyper realistic, especially when everything is just a little bit silly and not realistic. I think a lot of his acting in particular works really well for this, and he is just really beautiful. Like, he's just so pretty. And overall, this is something I didn't really say in my original filming, that they cast the men really well, I think. I've been kind of complaining a lot about some shows, especially American shows, where they have been very, very Nepo baby ish, where you're just kind of like, wow, these guys have zero charisma. They're not particularly like attractive or charming looking. They're just kind of dull. They're only in this because their family knows somebody who knows somebody. They have a lot of money. Whereas I feel like every single guy in this genuinely is attractive. They genuinely have charm and charisma and talent and skill in their acting. And I am really pleased that they have all been cast in this show, even if I am kind of taking the piss about some parts of the show. Like I said, I do enjoy romance, but it is a little bit silly. It's a little bit campy, and it is just a little bit like you have to kind of pretend that some parts are like just not. You have to just like pretend, some things are not particularly realistic and you just have to pretend about it. But I genuinely think all of the guys on the hockey team so far that we've kind of seen, including Hunter as well, I think they're all very attractive men, very funny, very charismatic. And I'm very excited that if this show is one that continues, that maybe we'll actually have an exciting show. And I do hope that we get like maybe a gay season. Maybe the queer theater guy gets a gay season. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe there's hope yet. I also think that maybe we actually will see more of him next season. He does drama with Ali. Huh? Heart of Campus? What do you think? What do you think? Seeing as we didn't see much of him this season. And he gets bullied by his sibling for having a crush on her, which is really funny. But this is one thing about the plot that I did really like. Because Gerd, he doesn't really drink much anyway. He doesn't really make a big deal about the fact that she doesn't drink at parties. He was trying to find some non-alcoholic drinks at the party, but John Logan was like, oh, well, maybe try offering her like a closed can of beer instead because that's safer. And he does, and he's like it's like no pressure, you absolutely don't have to, but like this is a safer option. It's a closed can of beer. And she does decide to take that. Ali is having the absolute time of her life just by herself.
Also, was it meant to be super symbolic that Ali and Sean went to that party as J-Lo and Ben Affleck, who, I don't know back in the day if they were together and broke up a lot, but like they definitely got back together recently and broke up again. And that was their whole like thing in the show, is that they were together and broke up all the time. And they are doomed. They are in a doomed relationship. Things, That's one thing I have quite enjoyed as well about this show is all of the pop culture references. There are so many. Everywhere. All the time. So many pop culture references absolutely everywhere. Sometimes they actually have meaning and they're deep. Some of them, they're just there for the love of the game.
Dancing as J-Lo. Not that I would have had a fucking clue that she was J-Lo, especially with her kind of haircut. Her boyfriend absolutely looks like a sad Ben Affleck, though. Like, a lot of men don't dance, so I also absolutely get her whole, like, generally being sad and wanting to dance. I like dancing. I want to dance. So like I get it. Also, Dean De Laurentiis. Dean. This is one of the moments where Dean is really hot, actually, because he does dance. Hello, Dean. And I am very obsessed with that, like, moment between them two. And then when she turns around and she's like, and leaves. Honestly, they stole the show. I'm not going to lie. They had so much more chemistry, in my opinion. Like, look, they They had so much of like a immediate fire burning chemistry. The other two had like a slower burn, which is fine, great, love it. I love a slow burn. But like those two had like a real burning that just I feel like just really stole the show from the main pair because I don't know, like they just had like also they had the charisma as well. That I just feel like the other two just didn't have that charisma in the same way. I don't know, man. Those two just had such a charisma separately, but also together. And like when they were together, oh my god. Justin turns up to the party, and that's when Hannah and Garrett just go upstairs and pretend to fuck, and they stay up there for the rest of the night. This is where one of the weird split screen moments happens. Whoever decided the split screens was a good idea should be fired. I don't want any split screens in season 2 unless it's for phone calls. And even then, minimal. Fired. Get out of here. I don't want that. This was awful. This is maybe the worst split screen I've ever seen in TV. I have never seen a split screen so bad. Hannah didn't want to share the bed. For some reason, grow up. I have been sharing beds with my friends literally since I was like 13, 14. Grow up. Share the damn bed. Get over it. They both end up sleeping on the floor either side of the fucking double bed. Or that's what the plan was. And then they end up just being on the computer together eventually and then falling asleep there. But they end up with the weirdest mouth and eye close ups in this split screen. I don't want to see your mouth and eye close ups. Who the fuck is seeing mouth and eye close ups? He says at one point, seeing you singing in the green room, you centered me. Oh, oh, disgusting. No, cut that line. That was awful. You centered me. Who speaks like that? Fired. Hannah also tells him about the scholarship, and he literally is the one that like suggests collaborating with Justin. So it's his fault. It's his fault that the rest of this season happens, and it's terrible. Everything else that happens is bad. They get like separate buses, I think the next day or something, to go to, I guess, like another hockey game, something like that. I have no idea. I didn't understand what was going on really. So he sees Justin sit next to Hannah on the other bus after he's just had like a cute little moment, like smiling and waving at Hannah. And like, what? They were so cute, but also now he's sad. But like then he plays and listens to all of Hannah's like music recommendations. And like I just love a romance where a very closed off guy is just down bad for a girl. So like whilst I'm not super enamored by Hannah's character, I am quite enamored by the tropes and Garrett himself generally. Ali has literally got the worst boyfriend in all of existence. For some reason, he is like most men. He is like most men, where he has somehow accidentally bagged himself a woman well above his standing. He has forgotten that this woman has been planning a particular future for herself, especially considering they are literally still in college. And then when that future is mentioned again, or like those plans come up again, because she's literally like, I've got an agent, which is amazing, very difficult. She's like, I've got an agent, and it's the same agent as like the other big staff from this university that I'm obsessed with, and who's doing very well. So I want to do XYZ. And she's from New York too. So, like, it's not like she would necessarily have to move away from her family. But he's like, I thought the plan was you were coming to Vermont. And she was like, oh, for the summer. That wasn't the plan forever. I was going to do XYZ. Like, I was always going to try to chase my dream. And he's like, where's my housewife? Where is my little housewife? You were going to pop out 5 babies and cook me dinner every day for the next 50 years. Even though you were literally here doing acting. I never thought you would get anywhere, obviously, which is basically what he literally says to her in the shower. He gets super mean and pissy as well about everything. All I can think is this man is so lucky that Ali is not me. I would have been much less kind and much less restrained in what I had to say to his face. Obviously, Dean is clearly like massively rich, right? But I don't know the difference between how rich Dean is compared to Ali's boyfriend, whatever his name is, Sean. But Sean's like seemingly relatively like well off. He's going to go work for his dad's company, and then that's that. So like he's set. He's set. That's that. That's life. That's life for me. That's the life for me. Are any of the hockey boys gay? Crossover? Crossover series? Heated rivalry, guys. Hello? I could see that working. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? Anyway, sorry, I got distracted. Oh yeah, Ali's shitty boyfriend. So, he has a lot of privilege. Comparing what Sean says to what like Dean says, and he is just like enamored. He is enamored with her, and he is just like, no, she's amazing. He literally goes to watch Drunk Shakespeare. They all go to watch Drunk Shakespeare, and he's fucking enamored with her. He's like, I'm in love. I'm obsessed. She's incredible. And I think one of the conversations they have, because she tells him about her ex and what her ex was saying. And he's like, no. Because she was saying as well, like, obviously it's hard, but like, I want somebody who loves me and will love me through stage shows and going on tour and whatever. And like, if that even happens, like, I don't know if it's even going to happen. I hope it does, but I don't even know if it will happen. But I want someone who will love me and support me through the possibility of it. He doesn't even love me through the possibility. He wasn't even happy for me getting an agent. And Dean was just all for it. And also, Dean is friends with the little brother of the girl that Ali is obsessed with. And Dean was more of a dancer, apparently. Who'd have known? Who'd have thought it? I've just read my next note. Oh my god. So I've got here John Logan, the non-bino's brother, remembers everything and everyone and fixes everything. He's kind of cute for that, but actually he doesn't. He just remembers everything about fucking Hannah because he's had a crush on her for ages. He's a scholarship kid too. Hannah goes upstairs to her tutoring session with, what's his name? Garrett, and he's busy eating some go out. They're busy having a fucking shouting match in the street, and for one, he has his hands on her bike and he keeps moving his face towards her. And I'm like, bro, get your hands off off her bike, move your face away. You did not have time to wash either of those things. Where have your hands been? I don't know. And then also someone just said that Tucker has made salmon, and I think that's really great timing for everything that's just happened. Oh, fish for dinner. Well, I think Garrett's had his fill, actually. Garrett's stuffed. Right, finally, Hannah has a sexy dream about a hockey boyfriend, and then she starts being weird about hockey boyfriend. Even after all of that shit with the playlist, Dusty Dinkelman, Jason, is still trying to fuck Hannah. He's just like, you know what? Even though I ran for the hills, I'm down. Actually, kind of my biggest dream. Love that for me. What? And hockey boyfriend is like, don't text him. Don't text him. Why does it feel like the cis straight guy is the only one who makes any sense in this show? That's not normally the case. I'm not normally on this side of the fence here, you know. Everybody goes to karaoke. The whole hockey team, Ali, Hannah. Unfortunately, Ali was not a musical theatre major. Alas, RIP, all of our eardrums. That girl is not perfect, unfortunately. Hannah and Garrett go over the drinking thing again. He's like, I can handle your drunk friends. Like, it's really not a big deal. Like, I'm massive. My friends are massive. We're chill. I can fight anyone. It's fine. I'm fine. I can also handle you. I can look after you and your drinks. So, like, if you want to get drunk, if you want to be drunk, like, I'll look after you, your friend, your drinks. Like, as long as you trust me, you're good. Which I thought was actually really a nice, heartwarming scene. Like, I feel like this is maybe the main thing of this show, is that because there's like an element of, sexual assault going on because of being drunk slash getting spikes, I guess. There is a lot of this boundaries and trust and not really ever getting drunk slash intoxicated in public kind of thing throughout the narrative, and it kind of just coming up in conversation slash it being noticed, but also him being like, look, it's totally chill. I'm not trying to like force you to get drunk because like I don't care. I don't need to get drunk either. It's fine. I don't need you to get drunk to have fun either. But if you wanted to, I'm just letting you know, because I'm also not going to be drinking. I can look after your drinks, and also I'm fucking humongous, so nobody's gonna mess with me to get to your drinks. You know what I mean? But also she's like, well, because that happened when I was so young too, I don't even know what I like to drink. So then they experiment with a bunch of drinks because he has lots of money. I can't imagine she will feel great the next day because Jesus Christ, mixing all of those different kinds of alcohols, I can't imagine will make you feel amazing. But she does decide that she likes pina coladas. Girl, same. I fucking love pina coladas, but the premixes always have fucking milk in them, so I can never have a fucking pina colada.
Another plot hole.
Like pina coladas, getting caught in the rain. And I just have this random fucking quote. Jesus Christ, this makes me so mad. I hate Sean. So Sean makes me so angry. This one quote from Ali, where she goes, I do love him and I know he loves me. Does he, bitch? Does he? Because if he loved you, he would believe in you and encourage you, girly. If he loved you, he would let you go and do your thing, bitch. And I have a note here that says, oh my god, the moment of her being drunk and Fix It Man rocking up and her saying he fixed my, oh my god, this was so funny. There were some moments that were just genuinely so funny, and I don't know if it was the writing or the way it was acted. Maybe it was a little bit of both, and I do genuinely think some of the acting was really good. I think it was like the delivery from these actors was just so good at times, which is why it was a shame that sometimes it was just so like weird from the two like leads of this season, because she was so drunk in this scene as well. In particular, John Logan like rocks up at the bar and she just kind of goes, he fixed my car. And then Garrett is like, you have a car? And she goes, no. And like just that moment was just really funny. I actually laughed out loud, which is rare for me generally. But John Logan goes, had, as in past tense. And then the non-binary sibling, Jules, is like apologizing to I think Garrett for being an asshole like previously. I can't even remember what for. And he's like, you're always an asshole. And they're like, yeah, valid. Which again, very funny, very relatable, normal people moment. Yeah, I just liked this moment because it's just a nice, clever moment, but also very validating, particularly for John Logan, but also then validating in its own way for Garrett as well. So it's about an advert for like some kind of electrolyte company. She's like, you shouldn't do it with your dad, to Garrett. You should do it with John Logan, instead, because who wants to see some like moldy old man anyway? What's better than two hot besties at the gym? And then my fave, Mateo, also known as John Tucker, pops his head in and goes, three hot besties at the gym, which also is very funny. I love that too. But then the non-binary sibling, Jules, is just like, oh my God, you're a fucking genius. Because also, for one, yes, very, very accurate, very clever. Yeah, who wants to see this moldy old man? Also, number two, yes, especially because John Logan is a scholarship kid. He needs the fucking money, but also he could probably do with the exposure that will give him for hockey teams to know who he is and know that he's been in an ad campaign, and be like, maybe we should like keep an eye on this one when he comes up to being like, like graduating in like whatever fucking year it will be. I don't know how college and sports works. I don't know. But then also, like I was gonna say, it's validating for Garrett, because Garrett doesn't want to do it with his dad anyway. His dad sucks ass, and that's why he doesn't want to do it in the first place. And it's like, well, yeah, maybe I will do it with my bestie Logan, actually, who I want to kiss and stroke his hair. Who said that? That wasn't me. Anyway, so she, as in Hannah Wells, gets up onto the stage to sing a song, and she chooses the song that Garrett was eating that girl out to, which is amusing and a nice in joke for them that nobody else gets. There's absolutely no other meaning behind this song at all. Ali left all of their wallet and keys at the bar, so they have to stay at the hockey house. And Hannah is like, I'm going to fuck him tonight. And he's like, no, you're not. He's like, you're really drunk. No, you're not. Yeah, she literally just leaves a trail of her clothes up the stairs. And he's like, I live with a bunch of other dudes. Maybe don't do that. Thanks. And then the next morning she gets a text from Dusty, and she's like, over it. She's like, all right. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I want to fuck Dusty. So anyway, hockey guy, give me an orgasm. And that's the end of the episode. And then this is like the bit where we get the backstory of her like sexual assault. She then also says stuff like, things are going really well with Justin. And it's like, are they? Are they going well with Justin? Because you haven't told him about this. You're afraid of these panic attacks happening with him as well. I also put a note on here as like, you don't necessarily, a lot of people say this too, an orgasm is not necessarily a requirement for a hookup. You can enjoy yourself without having to climax. You could still just fumble about and have fun and not have to, it's the first time. You don't know this person yet. I don't know. Is this like, I don't know. Is this kind of a new expectation now to feel like you have to do that because people are supposed to know how? But like every new partner is a different person. You still don't know them or know everything about them. Doesn't necessarily mean you will know exactly what to do with each individual person. I don't know. Either way, the standards are a little bit skewed in my personal opinion. And she hasn't even told her friend this, which was surprising to me. I thought she knew Ali back home, so I guess not. I mean, obviously, I know that now because I now know that they weren't even from the same fucking town, but I thought they were from the same town, but yeah, guess not. And he was like, okay, I'll do it. I was like, oh, will you do it? Oh, okay. Poor you, I guess. And she's like, oh, really? He's like, of course, you're my friend and you need me. And there's like a really long pause. Like, this interaction was so strange. And he's like, do you mean now? You know, and I was just like, what was this whole interaction? I think that was like, as well, maybe our first glimpse of seeing Gerd as an uncool guy. Our first glimmer of Gerd being Gerd and not Garrett. Garrett Graham. Garrett Gerd. Oh my god. He's got the American name that nobody pronounces. Garrett Graham. His name is Gerd Graham. His name is Gerd Graham. Anyway. Yeah, anyway, so we had a glimpse of loser Garrett. So she comes back later in this ridiculous black dress. And it's like, why did you bother? Why did you bother? Because also, this is the other thing. The other guy invited her over today. So actually, yeah, I thought they did mean now. I thought, I thought, I thought the guy invited her over the same day. So that also got lost in translation. Whatever. But either way, he's like, what the fuck are you wearing? Anyway, here is one of my humongous t-shirts. And also at this point, the screen was so fucking dark. I had no idea what was happening. I had no idea. I had to literally change where I was watching the TV because I couldn't see. I couldn't see. I think as well when I was seeing some of the screenshots compared to I think maybe a different show, I realized how dark some of even like the not dark supposedly screenshots were. This show is really dark. Can we just like up the brightness? Like, guys, please up the brightness. Just some of these fucking shows. I can't see anything. Remember when you could actually see what was happening at night on TV and like you didn't have to be literally in fucking pitch dark to see things that were happening? Fucking hell. So that is another complaint I have. So yeah, I literally couldn't see anything that was happening after their silly little dancing. After changing my scenery, she can't go through with it because trauma. And he's like, okay, that's fine. Sorry, the way I've written it, I've just made myself laugh. He's like, don't worry, that's fine. How about just go fuck ourselves? So there's no way of like talking about it that isn't funny. And I was like, well, that's an inventive workaround. Now look, comparing it to the fuck yourself scene of Heated Rivalry, I think Heated Rivalry did it better. This scene looked a bit uncomfortable. They like Hannah had no back support. This was one of those moments where Gerd looked a little bit awkward. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It did make me laugh when he thanked her afterwards. I don't know why that in particular. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what it is that makes me laugh about that so much. Anyway, moving on. Then they go eat in the kitchen. But like this is where he opens up about his mum and like her choice of music and films and how like that stuff makes him think of her and how like she died. And this is when she asks him like what does that song make him feel, because like it's the song that he put on that was like her favorite song, and her composing tutor, whatever the fuck he is, was telling her to like think more about how a song feels rather than about all the technical aspects of a song, because she's trying to win this pop contest. I do like that this is how they kind of show the difference and comparison between her two options. She never asks fucking Logan, how does this song make you feel? Because he was never really an option, was he? Anyway, so yeah, I like that that's how you kind of really get to see who is the real choice between her two options. Jason, Justin, just who is this man? I don't know. Justin or Garrett. And when she says, how does this song make you feel? Justin gets really technical. He doesn't actually listen to the question. Or he says, like, makes me jealous I didn't do it first. Gross. Garrett is actually surprisingly in touch with his feelings, considering he's a jock who doesn't share his feelings ever. And when Justin is the one who's meant to be the one who shares his feelings in music, but all he does is write about piss rain. Some gobbledygook. That's the thing. He wrote lyrics that made no sense. It's because he doesn't have any feelings. He doesn't know. He's full of bullshit. That's like literally exactly it. It's the metaphor. Asking Garrett, how does this song, that was his mother's favorite song, make him feel? He said, it makes him feel brave. It says, I like you, so deal with it. And she's there like, oh, fuck. And she gets all weird. And like right then, it almost seems like he's about to tell her, hey, Wellesley. First time I've remembered that he gave her a nickname. Hey, Wellesley, I'm in love with you. Will you be my real girlfriend? Because Justin doesn't deserve you. You know, the guy who actually can answer your question, the guy who can call you on your shit, and you call him on his shit too. Hello, it's me. Am I who you're looking for? But then his fucking phone goes off like 4 million times because unfortunately he's got Snapchat and it's a million nude photos. And he's like, ignore that. Anyway, I'm in love with you. No, don't leave. Don't leave me. She stuck her foot in it. He stuck his foot in it. They've all got their feet in it. Which John? I've just got on here. John is all over the place. There's more than one John. Which John? Oh, I think that's John Logan. John Logan's all over the place. Hockey boyfriends. Garrett is getting all his teammates telling him he likes Hannah. Blonde guy, Dean De Laurentiis, is going to tag along to Drunk Shakespeare so he can see Ali. John Logan sees his non-bino sibling, and they're like, you have a crush on Hannah and you're a loser. Lol. It was a really funny moment. I enjoyed that. Like, I feel like they were underutilized because then there was a while where they were overshadowed by their alcoholic parent, where it just kind of felt like they not have just reserved that for when the season, because it seems like they're going to do a heated rivalry where they're going to start like doing more seasons and start having each like hockey player fucking hell. They're gonna have each hockey player be like the main love interest, falling. I'm not falling in love and falling in love and falling in love and falling in love and falling, and have somebody falling in love with them. You know, I feel like there was just some stuff that we just could have done without for this season and could have done with a little bit more of relationship building of between them two rather than building their family tree for us, I guess. Because yeah, like great, tell us more about the family, fantastic, amazing. But actually I think that could have been saved for his season another time, you know, and just had a bit more general sibling stuff. Like I just felt like there wasn't a lot of them together, really. There was a lot of them about here and there, but there just wasn't a lot of them together and bantering that much. I felt like they could have done with more of that. It was a little bit low key. I felt like they could have amped it up a little bit more. This is what I thought was a little bit crazy. So at the Drunk Shakespeare, Dusty is cozying up to Hannah on the couch right in front of fucking Garrett. Like that's crazy. Like they do then like talk about how, oh, they're open, it's fine, blah blah blah. But it's like, okay, that was not open and confirmed information just now. When was that open and confirmed information? Because like when did that information go around campus? Because that was not free information just now. Some of it just doesn't align very well, or like the way it's being told in the show makes it very confusing, or it just doesn't align very well, where it maybe makes more sense in the way it might have been told in the book, but like it just doesn't make much sense in the way that it's come out in the show. So I was like, I know that they were talking about, oh, well, we're not serious. It's like, yeah, but who knows this? Who's having this conversation out at campus? You two are like snogging and snuggling and whatever. Who is saying, oh, well, we're not serious? Like, who is like actively having that conversation out and about? I don't know if it was actually funny or just a bit hammy for the show to pick the lovers for A Midsummer Night's Dream to be Hannah, Garrett, Justin, and that girl Kendall. Like, it gave Garrett and Kendall a chance to kind of like, sort out. She was mad at him still. She was mad generally all the time. Like, she volunteered to be there. Also, so fucking funny that Dean volunteered Garrett. Dean volunteered Garrett. That is so funny. Yes, Dean. Like, I want more of that shit. I want more of that shit. I want more of like the boys being boys in that kind of way. I want the boys winding each other up and ruining each other's day. I want the boys fucking around and finding out. Like, that was so funny. That was so good. It was just the way he did it so badly too. Like, oh, it's me, Garrett Graham here. I want to be. It was so fucking funny. Yes, bitch. Like, that was so good. And I think it was just the way that Hannah's like gay friend, who we never saw after like episode 1.5, grabbed her and Justin. That was the other thing. Is he going to have a hockey player? Mateo, are you gay? Are you there? Mateo, pick up the phone. John Tucker, pick up the fucking phone. The whole friend group just starts dating hockey players. I mean, it would make sense. They're all very busy people in their big old careers, hockey players, and then all in the arts. I mean, I do love a bit of ham. I do love a bit of, is this play about us? I do love a bit of insert Shakespeare here. Dusty asks her out after all of that, so then the deal is off. He's not interested in you, girl. He really isn't. He's not interested. He really isn't. He does not care. If you had to do all that to get him interested in you, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. Hockey guy goes back to his mechanic bestie at the rink. Oh yeah, he didn't go to the show. And they kiss, but they don't. They don't kiss. I wish they kissed. He has lovely hair, but they don't kiss. Dusty is a pretentious music loser. Duh. So she goes off to find Hockey Guy. The correct answer. Yes. So she goes to the rink. She sings over the speaker for some reason while he is doing some kind of practice by himself. I don't know what he's doing. Also, I had this question quite a lot because they did this a lot, both like officially practicing by themselves, but also just like fucking about. I don't think it's that normal to just like be allowed to access an ice rink by yourself or like without some kind of official person out of hours as often as they do in this show. Because that, I don't think they even do that in Heated Rivalry. But I feel like that's a safety hazard. But like, they are often skating by themselves, whether it's just practicing or like a bit later when he's been like banned from practice and competing. He just skates in sad circles, as the non-binary sibling says. He just skates by himself in little sad circles at Thanksgiving. I don't think that's safe. I don't think you're allowed to just go and do that as often as they do. Because I mean, even just ice skating on ice, like, is a safety hazard. Because what if you just slipped? If you're by yourself, if you slip and hit your head, no one's gonna find you. So I don't think that's normal. I think there would be a requirement to at least either have like a a member of staff there of some kind, at least, or like maybe at least a few of you be there. But I don't know. I would love to hear from people who actually do ice hockey. Do you just have unlimited access to a fucking ice rink? Because I can't imagine that that is legally allowed. Not out of hours when there's technically no staff supposedly around. After this, they are like now together, and there's just this like insane montage of them just like fucking and hockey games, and then mechanic cutie looking sad. But also, I'm not gonna lie, these fucking montages are like don't look the nicest. I'm not gonna lie. Like they don't look the sexiest, don't look the most comfortable. Like, a lot of the time you can tell it was really placed. That was one thing I wanted to look up. Was there off campus? Was there an intimacy coordinator? They did. Off campus stars talk intimacy coordinators. Admits nobody's thrilled to be in those sex scenes. We can tell, girl. I mean, especially yours. I'm not gonna lie, we can tell nobody wanted to be in yours. Yeah, those ones felt really placed. They don't have to feel that placed. Ali and Dean. Theirs was so good. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming Heated Rivalry had intimacy coordinators. They were amazing. I want to see how old Mika is. Okay, she's a bit older than Ella Bright. And where is Dean's actor? How old is he? Oh, yeah. So I kind of think some of the issue is the age. Like it's come up a little bit, I've seen in some of the responses I've seen online, is that people think that Hannah Wells' actress is too young for these scenes. I don't necessarily think she is too young for these scenes. I think maybe the age difference hasn't helped, because the age difference between her and both of her characters' love interests was like 10 or more years. The actor for Garrett was born in 98 and she was 2006. So that's 8 years. And then I think Justin was 96. Yeah. So that's 10 years. But also very well could be her age too. And like I'm 31 and I just know I wouldn't want to do those kinds of scenes full stop. Let alone being 20. I would not have wanted to do those scenes at 20, especially with somebody 10 years older than me. Ali and Dean are way closer in age. They are like 2 years age difference. So they're much more like peers, which I think makes it a lot easier to look at it differently. So then also Mika, so who plays Ali, is 26. So that's 6 years difference in age from Ali's actress versus Hannah's actress. And like just all of this just changes how you see and feel and interpret and perform a character, but also just are as yourself. So there's a lot of elements to that, and I'm not that surprised that the sex scenes look so different between those couples,
I think there's also elements as well of like what each of their backgrounds of acting have been up until now, because I think Belmont has quite a limited acting repertoire. Is it Ella? I've already forgotten because I filmed this a little while ago now. I've been editing for ages. Ella has been mostly like stage shows and very British and very kid-like kind of shows, including like very royal stuff. And she is still very young, so she's had like quite childlike roles still. Whereas when you look at like the roles that both Mika and is it Stephen have had, I think they've had much more like TV and film roles. They've had more of them, even if they've been like smaller indie films or like smaller TV roles. Like I think Stephen was in Gen V or something. I think I was gonna watch that, but I didn't for some reason. That was also a Prime thing, I can't remember. But yeah, I think the type of things that they've been in and how many just kind of shows the kind of experience that they've had as well, which I think shows in their acting performances too. And I think that's maybe as well showing in how awkward or how not awkward they have been on screen, both in their sex scenes and non-sex scenes.
How old is the John Logan actor? Does it say here? May 2000. He's the closest one to Hannah's age out of the three dudes. Also, apparently people are body shaming him. Who is body shaming John Logan? He is a beautiful man. Are you kidding? I will fight anybody body shaming Antonio Cipriano. Is that how you pronounce that? He is beautiful. I don't give a fuck. He's gorgeous. What do you fucking mean? I will fight you. So yeah, the guy who wrote Hannah Wells was also a hockey player and the mayor's kid. And she tried to report and prosecute him. Obviously, that didn't fucking work because it never does. But of course, it doesn't work when it's the fucking mayor's kid. Like, that is not a shock in the slightest. I'm a little bit shocked that her fucking parents are still living in the same town. I'm not gonna lie. I think I might have moved. I think I might have moved. I'm like, fuck all of you. Fuck this town. From the sounds of like how badly the people there treat the family, but also Hannah, I'd have fucking moved. And yeah, the Thanksgiving episode is just a lot of people's family shit. And this was what I mean about like the whole alcoholic parent thing with John Logan and his non-binary sibling, and they just get into a fight with each other for a lot of this episode. And they both have this like very different ways of feeling about it, which would have been a lot better in my opinion, like I said, if they'd explored that in their own season. Hockey boyfriend, Garrett walking on eggshells with dad because dad seems different. But then we kind of just find out he's not different. He just wants everyone to think he's different. You know, the usual abuser bullshit. Hockey guy basically just sees that his dad is still beating his wives behind closed doors. He gets a chance to speak to the new wife alone, but she isn't going to leave. He feels a lot of things about that. Hannah drives them home, and this is basically where he unveils his past for the first time ever to anybody. This is where he also sort of unveils his worries about it. What if he's like his dad? He worries that because he has these anger issues from the trauma of having an abusive parent, what if he's the same? Because he saw the bruises on his dad's new wife's wrist, he got really angry and sort of like got up from the table really fast and looked really angry. His wife looked really scared. And it's like, that's not a you problem, man. That's like battered wife syndrome. That's an abused person thing. That's something that someone with trauma will eventually have to learn to kind of get over, unfortunately. And it was really it was so frustrating too, because this was such a good moment until like the crying into her arms, because like the acting was great until the crying into her arms, where it was just sort of not quite right, and something wasn't really like, I don't know, I can't even remember quite why it wasn't right. Something just looked a bit off, and then also the like crying, the like hug part looked a bit weird, but then also his actual crying looked a bit odd, and so this really like heavy, horrible, emotional moment was then just like completely disengaged by this like weird cry moment. Ugh, which is so annoying. This is like a really important topic too, because I think there's probably a lot of men out there who are probably dealing with this kind of situation where they have been kids who have been abused by a parent or guardian, and they've, grown up, had to be this very like strong and silent masculine kind of man. I never told anybody about what actually happened behind those closed doors. Always wondered, are they like that? Because they have this anger problem too, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You can definitely have anger issues that you can deal with healthily and you can manage. But also, yeah, like, how do you know if you've never seen a therapist or if you've never spoken to somebody about it? This may be one of those moments that a man may have only gotten to see this small snippet of something they're actually going through or have been through because their girlfriend is just watching this hockey romance, and they're just like, or watching, not watching, but watching it. Or like their girlfriend has gone, hey, this guy kind of reminds me of you, will you watch this with me? And then the moment's kind of ruined because of the acting's a bit weird, a bit awkward, and the production team has just kind of thrown it together and couldn't be asked to like redo the acting scenes. And it is a little bit disappointing for like which scenes they are off in. But yeah, I mean, after all of that anyway, Hannah stole this photo from the house of Garrett and his mum, and she gave that to him. So at least he has something nice to keep as a memory, I guess. Something nice to keep, I guess. At the end of episode 5, we see Ali is fucking the blonde guy. Oh yeah, this is the other reason why I started watching this show, because I just kept seeing gifs of these two all over my fucking Tumblr. I kept seeing people taking the piss out of these two, keeping their relationship a secret, being like, they are cisgender and straight. What are they keeping a fucking secret for? And they are so right. I don't know. I've watched this whole fucking show now, and I still don't understand why it was necessary to keep them a secret. Everyone fucking knew, really. They weren't trying very hard, to be honest. But yeah, people were like, what did they need to hide for? And it was just making me laugh. Because, yeah, actually watching it, the only person who gives a shit is Sean. And who fucking cares about Sean? Not me. Right, so now we get into the couple who have some actual fucking chemistry. Because, like, sure, the other two have, like, a nice little love story, like a slow burn love story. These two have, like, the chemistry. They have the chemistry. So episode 6 is when we get the tea about what happened, when it all started, why, what's going on. And we basically end up going back in time to when Ali was passing out drunk on the couch in the hockey house after the karaoke night. And that's when it all started. There's some really fucking funny bits here that I thought were really good. I really liked these. There were some really good gay bits in here that I just thought were, I think they were underappreciated, honestly. I think there are more shows that need to just do some funny little bits like that. The sun is setting, so that means my side of the house is now actually too hot to be in. So I thought, seeing as it's time for me to run a bath, I'll take you into the bathroom with me to carry on filming my video, I guess. I don't know. Oh yeah. So Ali's passed out on the couch, and Dean comes back soon after with 2 girls. Like, he's literally about to have a fucking threesome, and he falls on top of Ali, and they start having a fight. And I was like, wow, he really is just like fucking constantly. I did not realize how often he's just like fucking. Because, like, that was the other thing. Also, there's this video. I can't remember what the content creator's name is. I think I put the video on here. I follow her on Instagram. But yeah, so she was talking about Blonde Jail, and the guy who plays Dean De Laurentiis is obviously naturally a very dark brunette and was put into blonde jail for off campus. As I was watching this show, I did not realize I was supposed to think he was a natural blonde. I'm meant to think he's a natural blonde. Are you kidding? Because the look of his hair, anyway, I didn't even really think about him very much at the start of the show, obviously, because we barely see him really. We see him more towards the end, but at the start of the show, we don't see him that much. And I would need to like double check this really, but I think at the start of the show, he doesn't really have much roots and his dye job is not amazing. As the show goes on, you just see his roots grow. So I kind of just thought, especially with the kind of dye job he has, I just thought he was meant to look like he's had a box bleach dye. Just like some random college kid, like I did when I was in college, because I did box bleach my hair semi regularly because I did and I could and I wanted to, and I liked dyeing my hair a selection of weird bright colors because I'm fucking gay. Because I'm fucking gay. That was the period of time TikTok was for me as well during my college years when it was Musically. Because I'm fucking gay. Before I even knew the reference that was on American Shameless. So I didn't even realize I was supposed to think he was a natural blonde because they put no effort into upkeeping his roots. But also he had so much, like, it was just all of the back and sides was all just dark hair. So I just did not even think about it. I just thought he was just some dude who was like, I'm just gonna bleach my hair, and just had a bleach hair dye job. Not that he was meant to be actually blonde. Anyway, back to him trying to fuck two girls at once, and they end up ditching him for each other. So that was the part that I was getting to initially. That was very funny, and I think that should happen more often in TV and film. He is also a pothead, which is not really much of a plot point at any point in the rest of the season. Doesn't seem to be mentioned really ever. This is what I mean by it's a bit strange with how we do see and meet, or like how much plot we get around some of the other characters. It is very patchy and mismatched through the season. It's very heavy on the Hannah and Garrett for like the first 2/3, and a little bit John Logan and Jules esque, with a little bit Ali and Dean coming in here and there, until then they're like one episode with a few smatterings of some of the others coming through around. But then, yeah, it just feels a little bit like random at times where you're just like, oh, okay, we suddenly have like a character info dump in random places that just feel a little bit heavy handed at times. Like, whilst I love an episode that's like, yes, here we go, because this is sort of like a parallel to the, what was it, Scott and Kip, you know who I mean, episode for Heated Rivalry, which gave a bit more backstory around Scott before Scott then has his like big public kiss. But this kind of just feels a bit random before we end up with like a bit more information around Ali and Dean and Lord Farquaad at the end. Because, like, yeah, we had a bit of Ali earlier on because of a shitty boyfriend, and then we will have this whole episode of Ali and AJ. Da, da, na, 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 da, 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 of Ali and Dean. And then we get like Ali some more with her new bestie, who's the sister of Dean's bestie, whilst Ali goes and has like a crisis of being like a monogamous girly. And I'm just like, hey girl, maybe you're just like on the asexual spectrum. Like maybe you just aren't like that into sleeping with people you don't know a little bit. And that's okay. You don't have to sleep with complete strangers. That's like fine. You don't have to do that. Like you can have casual sex. It can just be with people you know. That is a thing. Anyway, I just found whilst I love them, look, whilst I loved their chemistry, I really liked them as a pairing. They were very funny and interesting and had such life and joie de vivre, I think is the right use of that term. Ali just made no fucking sense all the time. Like, Dean clearly has like self-esteem problems. He has self-esteem issues. He doesn't think anybody wants to be with him for longer than like a night, and that's sad. Okay, now he's been shagging someone for more than a night. He's like, oh, I have feelings. Wow, I am new to this. I don't want to shag anybody else, Ali. And she's like, oh, well, I didn't want to catch feelings, even though I think I have, but like, we need to break the cycle or some shit. But anyway, the reason why they kept themselves a secret is because she didn't want to hurt her ex's feelings, for one. And I'm like, who cares? Fuck that guy. They aren't trying as hard to be hot. That was it. That was one of the things I wrote, and I was like, oh, I'm onto something here. Because that was the thing. I feel like they just are hot and they just are funny. I felt like the other two were trying too hard. You know when someone's trying to be funny and trying to be hot. And that's kind of the point of Hannah's character. She's trying too hard all the time. And I think that just kind of comes off too much into even the actress and into the sex scenes, even after her character's supposed to stop trying. Because, like, yeah, we just have like awkward, nerdy girl and moody, serious guy. Whereas, like, we have a blondie bestie who's like cute and with this fucking disgustingly adorable dimple. And like I said, everything he does, gorgeous and funny, disgusting. Everything she does, gorgeous, funny, effortless, disgusting, funny. Hate them, love them. Like, they are everything that you want to be, but because they're so effortlessly likable, you can't hate them, actually. You can't. You can't hate them. Sorry. They're so likable, you can't hate them. They're just like such nice people. Sorry, actually, they're your friend now. We find out Dean actually secretly also loves theatre because his bestie is the younger brother of the theatre girl, like I mentioned. But it's the fact that he secretly loves theatre too, which makes him perfect for Ali. He'll go and watch every fucking show. Even though he's pretending he hates the musical songs that everyone's listening to in the car on the way to New York, he also lives in New York, which is where Ali lives too. Perfect. Disgustingly rich, though. She's there like, huh? What do you mean? She asks for his moves. She's like, what's your move when you bring girls here? And it was so fun. Actually, Ali made me laugh too, because it was actually so funny, and I would have died laughing if somebody told me this was their move, whether they were my friend or somebody I was interested in. But either way, it ends down in the piano room where he can play some piano. The only piano he can play is the song Mad World. All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces. That works. You're wooing people with the most depressing song ever written on earth. You're wooing people with the song that something that I can't say on the internet. Well, I did used to learn to sing that song back at Stagecoach, so that tracks for the performing arts in all of us. Mad World. That was mad funny. That is. But then she was like, "What does normal you do alone here?" And this happens a lot in TV these days, I've noticed. It was middle of the day when she asked that, and then suddenly it's fucking midnight. What happened? Did it take too long for you to set up the next shot? What happens? It's the middle of the fucking night. What did they do? It was one conversation. How long does it take for them to get down the stairs? How many floors are there in that New York City apartment? It took them 4 hours to walk down the stairs. All of his family are in St. Bart's, so he is indeed a gossip girly. I think whoever it was that wrote this fucking book obviously was a Gossip Girl fan and a Pretty Little Liars fan, because this bitch is a De Laurentiis, Alison De Laurentiis from Pretty Little Liars, and he is an Upper East Side New York City girly, and his whole family is in St. Bart's. I see you, bitch. XOXO. Gossip Girl. She has this like absolute fucking freak out after he has this FaceTime phone call with his hockey team on Turkey Day. Also, are her family not bothered where she just fucked off to? Ali, where did you go? You've been gone for 3 days. You said you were going to the shops 14 hours ago. But yeah, she has this freak out. She's like, what are we doing? I can't remember why she was freaking out. They know about us. I don't know. I don't even remember. Why was she freaking out? Literally, I've just got it makes no sense. But like literally all of her freakouts or like all of her problems are just like, we can't let anybody know because my ex-boyfriend rather. It's like, and we can't let anybody know because I don't want to be in a relationship. And then she's kind of accidentally in one. It's like, well, are you? Or are you just kind of casually seeing someone? Is that so wrong? I think that's fine, you know? I think it's okay. I think it's okay. She's off helping Broadway girl in another episode because she needs help for a self tape. So she takes her out to a bar and she's like, you need to go and hook up. You need to hook up with somebody who you don't know because you're in another relationship. She's like, oh no. And it's like, why does anybody care this much? Why does Broadway girl? Also, Broadway girl. Does Broadway girl know that it's Dean? I can't remember if she knows it's Dean. Also, would her reaction be different if she knew it was Dean? I'm not sure. But also, Dean is like, there's this girl, right? To his bestie. And he's like, yeah, Ali. And he's like, how did you know? He's like, I'm not fucking stupid. Like, I was in the car with you for 8 hours. I am not an idiot. I have eyeballs. They do see. And he's like, if you want to be with her, you need to actually go tell her that. You know, you need to go tell her you want to be with her before she changes her mind or goes to sleep with somebody else. Because if you actually care if she sleeps with somebody else, you need to go and like make sure she knows that before she does sleep with somebody else. And like initially she's like, oh, I'm not gonna go sleep with this guy in this bar. And it's like, it's fine, she's not going to, she doesn't. But then she meets him out somewhere else some other night. He does have a fake ID. He was lying about that. The fake ID, Sir Francis Sir Twats a lot. Even though he looks like a Sir Francis Sir Twats a lot. She bumps into him when he's out on a run. Why did she change her mind? I'm not really sure. Well, either way, there was one point where the ex-boyfriend shows up and she was like in her sexy lingerie from hooking up with Dean. And he's like, oh, you really can't be alone, can you? And it's like, no one cares. No one cares about you. No one cares. No one asked you. No one cares. She didn't want to be alone. She just didn't want to be with you. She broke up with you, not everyone. Okay? But yeah, so like she does go and fuck this guy in the last episode. But we're not sure. You're not meant to know. You're not meant to be completely sure. Until right near the end, where she's like, she bumps into Dean and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I really like you. And I didn't I didn't go through with our agreement. And she was like, what do you mean? You have to, because I did. And he's like fucking heartbroken. And I don't know if he asks who or what's going on, but also like there's this whole thing about like they need a player's got a concussion, and then also Garrett has been suspended for like 4 games, so they need an extra player. Who would you believe the extra player is that they go and recruit against Dean's will? So Lord Farquaad the First, whose name I don't fucking know. What is his name? Is it Hunter? So yeah, she does go and fuck him. They were meant to never speak again. And then he joins the fucking hockey team. He joins the fucking hockey team, and they immediately, Hunter Davenport and Dean De Laurentiis, you know, the most obnoxious names you could possibly find, fight in the bar. They just start fucking fighting. Both because Dean didn't want him on the team anyway. He hates him. But also now Dean knows Hunter fucked Ali, and he does not like that either. So that is the Ali and Dean situation. Back to Hannah and Garrett. Hannah is practicing her song for the showcase. The lyrics are terrible. That's the piss song. She joke sings about it being bad, but also about Garrett loving her. And he's just like, yeah, I do. And it's all kind of like gay and sweet. And it's also just like, how long has it been? I have no perception of how much time has passed in this show. Because like 1 second it's been like episode 1, apparently a day, when it feels like 3 or 4. And then sometimes it's been like a week, and it's not, and it hasn't been, and it's just so now I just don't know how long they've actually even been dating. Because I mean, we had that montage of them fucking. So I know there's been a period of time of them actually being together. There's not been enough references of how long they've been together for me to understand how long they've actually been dating. I have no idea. Very sweet and all, but how long has actually gone past? I understand that I guess the semester has been like progressing, but like I feel like it's been hard to actually understand that passing, because not a lot of the time frames have really happened. I also don't actually know what year a lot of these college students are in most of the time. There may be like a singular reference that has gone and passed. Sometimes I don't even know if there's ever been a reference. All I know is John Tucker apparently is not a freshman, and that's all I know. Because he was here last year. Or if he is a freshman, he's a freshman again. Whilst this scene is very sweet and lovely, it does make me just sort of go, oh, okay. So yeah, he's like, oh, I love you, Wellesley. Oh, this is another thing as well about their awful acting. It's not just him either. So this is a moment of, I feel like Hannah's actor being not a very good actor at times either as well. After he says to her, I love you, Wellesley, there's this really awful shot, but like as well, I do blame again the production as well a lot for these issues, because they're the ones choosing to keep these shots in, whereas they could just either do it again or just use a different shot, or you know, they're the ones making the choice to keep these weird moments and shots in. That's not the actor's choice. Very strange. But like, so after he says that, there's this awful shot of her face, and she's just kind of like, her like face is just really twitchy. I'm not even sure if I can do it, but like her like face, her eyes are like really twitchy, her nose and her mouth, like everything, her face is just twitching around. And I'm just sort of like, I'm not really sure what that is supposed to convey. It was just like a really unattractive shot that was not conveying an emotion. It was just a strange, twitchy shot to me before she then just says it back, and then they start making out and fucking. And just somebody decides to go, yeah, we got it. Got the shot. Yeah. Yeah. Nice one. Thanks. Like, who the fuck? Who the fuck? What? Who? Wow. And then there's that fundraiser for like the poor kids who are doing hockey, because mechanic Joe did hockey through that scheme that way. He's the one that ended up calling Garrett's dad for a prize, which brings up tension with Garrett. Because there was this really awkward moment where Garrett instead offered to like sign something instead. He was like, "Oh well, you're not the famous one yet," and it was just like, yeah, it was all a little bit cringe and embarrassing with that whole moment because it's like, yeah, that was a little bit weird to offer to sign something when you are not famous yourself. But I also understand that you're just trying to offer something else instead of having to speak to your abusive father without also trying to talk about it. Because I think during that moment, John Logan was just like over Garrett's shit by that point. He was just like over it. Like, I've had enough of your shit, mate. Shut up. The opposite team center is the rest. So Hannah is all like spun out by this and misses most of the game and just kind of lies to Garrett about this. Doesn't trust that he won't spin out and doesn't trust that he will respect her wishes. If she asks him, like, hey, don't do this, he'll probably say these kinds of things about me. Don't respond, don't react, if he knows we're together, blah blah blah. So I did find that a little bit odd. I don't know whether that's a particular writing choice or something that's quite common in that experience. I've just generally found a lot of the writing outside of the sexual assault like narrative that was written to be kind of patchy and a bit strange. So I don't know if this, like I said, was a narrative choice based on experience or if that just kind of goes along with some of the other choices that I find a little bit confusing, particularly as I think that a lot of the previous episodes have been heavily about trust and trusting each other between Hannah and Garrett. I just think it's a little bit odd that there has been zero communication at this point at all. Even just her saying, oh, like there was something triggering happening about that thing, but I'm fine now. I don't know, even just a little something. Because even he says that when she eventually turns up, like, oh, just like, why don't you just say something? Like, I was really worried about you. So yeah, she doesn't text him all day and eventually shows up after he's been playing badly and in a terrible mood because his dad's around with his girlfriend. The rapist is like a really horrible player to play against. He's really violent, but also on top of all of that, John Logan is still being kind of a dick about everything all the time as well. And yeah, when he asks her like, oh, why don't you just text me, she just kind of lies to his face, which I think is kind of, I don't know, I just think it's a bit odd and a bit unfair. Again, when you're basing, I mean, any relationships are based on trust, but especially this relationship when both of them have so much past childhood trauma. A lot of their relationship has been very heavily about like, hey, like I really struggle trusting anybody with anything, let alone such specific personal past traumas. I just find it a bit strange to not only withhold any information right now, but also to just lie to his face. The rate says some shit to his face on the ice and he puts two and two together. Yeah, after he just starts to feel a bit better about things and starts to play a little bit better, he weaponizes the fact that he assaulted Hannah. Or, he obviously doesn't see it as assault, but the fact that, she tried to report it and tried to get a conviction and stuff. One of the things that she brought up is that everybody called her and her family liars and stuff like that. So, like, that's one of the things is like, I think he said that she was like a liar or something like that. So he puts two and two together and the guy skates off. And then, yeah, Garrett just like beats the shit out of the guy on the ice, which I'm very down for. Like, everyone was really mad about it, including Hannah. But I, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. If you're gonna publicly beat the shit out of a racist, call me, beat me if you want to reach me. I don't think there's ever a wrong reason for that unless you may be actively putting somebody in harm's way. But seeing as he already knew Hannah was there, saw her there, there was no outing her as being there or her as reporting anything. Sometimes violence is the answer. I stand by that. After the game, Hannah and Graham do have like a crappy public argument, which could have waited until either getting into the car or getting back to somebody's house, at least, somewhere private, and waited until somebody had cooled off. Where's everybody's friends? Where did everybody's friends go? It seemed like everybody's friends fucked off after all that, which seems a bit crazy. Where did everyone's friends go? But like basically they break up, but they both said some shitty things to each other, about the situation and what happened that didn't need to be said, both because they just kind of came out wrong, but also because they were upset and were hurt and wanted to be heard and were kind of lashing out a little bit, and both were triggered, So like, either way, it's one of them like third act breakups. It's the third act breakup. That's what it is. That's all it is. They needed a reason to break them up before putting them back together, basically. So there it is. Hannah finally calls home after this as well. And her mum is like, why are you sorry? Why are you sorry about this? I'm confused. So, like, her mum is just like, shut up. Let us be your parents. It's our job to look after you and deal with the finances of like university. Somebody hurt you and the justice system did not do what it was supposed to do. That's not your fault. Why are you trying to deal with all this by yourself? So stop being silly. Now go back to school. Which is like good. Yeah, good. Some good parenting. Finally, somewhere. Final episode, hockey team. Oh, that was the thing. The hockey team lose all of their wins on a stupid technicality, which makes no sense. I feel like they absolutely could and should argue that case, because it was on like a social media post that you could absolutely edit to make clear that like nobody's on any team or whatever the fuck the technicality was. It didn't make any sense to me because I don't. Sports! Go sports team! Sports team! And that's where my notes end, and I don't remember anything else. So I'm gonna try to remember. Hannah, she tells her friend Ali that she was, and she was like, I know. She's like, I know, I always knew it was you. You always talked about this friend. And I'm like, yeah, whoever that was, your friend. I knew it was you. I was just waiting until you told me it was you. So then she says something profound where it's like, I always knew it was you, but like you were the friend back then, but also you now. Like you're still that person, but you're also this person. You're all of the people. And that inspires Hannah to write a new song, because Dusty Dinkelman wrote Piss in the Rain of Yellow Mist. Go and copyright that and go and get your royalties, idiot. So she went to go write her own song with some help from Jules, because she's edgy and she's going to go and make a pop song with hockey. Because of course, fucking hell. Because of course, she can't just make a fucking song. Of course not. It has to have hockey swipes in it. At some point, Hannah did say, you should probably tell your friends about your abusive father, to Garrett, and he does have a fight with his father after the the thing with the hockey. And he's like, stop fucking talking to me. I never want to see your fucking face again because you're an abusive. Leave me the fuck alone. He's like, finally, like, I've had enough of your shit. If you stop giving me money, fine, fuck yourself. Don't give a shit. Fuck you. And then he goes home and he's like, hello, my beautiful best friend with gorgeous hair, mechanic Joe Logan. Kiss me. And then he tells Joe Logan. And then we don't even witness this conversation. We get 47 hours of Ali and AJ, Ali and Hannah talking shit. We don't even get one conversation. We don't get one real conversation between Gerd and Joe Logan. I was actually well excited for that. Didn't happen. It zooms away as we see them like. Why did you not even try? Not even one conversation. Okay. We can't have one real conversation between two men talking about an abusive father. Okay. Only girlfriends allowed. The new girl band, based on the early 2000s girl group Girls Aloud. Something kinda ooh, something on my choo-choo. Yeah, you know, my dad really made me go, something kinda ooh, something kinda ooh, ooh. Anyway, she doesn't win. The hockey guys do win, I think. They have to win or they have to draw to like every game for the rest of their season to get anywhere. Because otherwise they're fucked. They're all fucked. Thanks to the one social media post, which makes no fucking sense. Ali calls Dean to be like, get Garrett the fuck over to the talent show because this bitch is performing her shitty song, which is fine. It's not bad, but it's just another song for TV, isn't it? For some TV show. And he does, and everyone's like, how do you know? How do you know this? And big man Dean De Laurentiis' bestie, who is his friend? I don't know which one his friend is. Is that Bo maybe? Is like, me. It was me. I know because of my sister. I can't remember what the reason was. That the reason? I think I've just made it up. Yeah, come watch her sing her little song that's kind of about you, but also not. So you can go make up and stop being a droopy bitch because we've had enough of you. Thanks. They all go watch, including the gay friend that we barely see anything of. Then, like I said, everybody is celebrating afterwards. There's the big fight. And to be fair, okay, here was one of my bugbears about Ali and Dean with their whole like, oh, but you have to sleep with somebody else because then we're uneven. Dean De Laurentiis has already slept with basically the entire college population who has a vagina. So does he really need to sleep with another one just because it's not after you? Does it really matter that much what order? Like, really? You know what I mean? Know what I mean? It just seems a bit silly to be caught up on that in particular. But then again, they are in college, so maybe that is why it is exactly the way it is, and it is very stupid. So is every book a three-way? Or a love not really a triangle, but a triangle, but someone who's kind of got like divided attentions between two people? Is it always following a girl? Or do we kind of follow men? Because also they seem to be hockey books, right? So I don't know. Obviously, I'm rooting for Dean De Laurentiis. When do we get to Mateo, also known as John Tucker? Go and watch my other hockey videos where I talked about my first reaction to heated rivalry, but also my follow up video to that was where I talked about everything that I could remember, where I feel like Shane Hollander was being really autistic. Yeah. Anyway, this is going to be a horrible video to edit because this is so long. I hope you like this video. Let me know if there's anything else you think I should check out that's maybe popular at the moment. I can't. It's very warm. Can't think anymore. I'll see you in my next video. Don't forget to check out my newsletter and subscribe if you want to keep updated with things I'm doing generally across the board. You get a free printable art piece that I've made if you sign up. See you next week. Bye.